In today's video, we're uncovering the incredible history of the 1971-era UK Elizabeth II 5 new pence coin. We'll reveal the rare mistakes that slipped out of the Royal Mint, the jaw-dropping values these coins have fetched at auction, and exactly how to check if you have one hiding in your collection. Because I'll reveal the single most astonishing 1971 5p error ever discovered, a coin so rare that experts believe it could command a seven-figure fortune. The birth of the 5 new pence coin. To understand why the 1971 5 new pence is so important, we need to step back in time to decimal day, February 15, 1971. For centuries, Britain used the old pounds, shillings, and pence system. 1 pound equaled to 140 pence. But with decimalization, the system was simplified. 100 new pence equals 1 pound. But because of the rush to produce so many coins during decimalization, mistakes were inevitable. And those rare mistakes are the reason we're talking about this coin today. The 1971 error coins, wrong planchette errors. These coins can look slightly smaller, lighter, or darker in color. Values, £5,000 to £20,000, depending on rarity. Off-center strikes, the more dramatic the shift, the higher the value. Values, £1,000 to £10,000. Double strikes, collectors love these. Values, to £1,000 to £15,000. Mule errors, extremely rare, and highly desirable. Values, £100,000 to £500,000. Even £1 million or more. Clipped plankets, rare and noticeable. Values, £500 to £5,000. Die cracks and cuts, depending on severity, these can fetch hundreds to thousands. Why are these errors worth so much? Rarity. Billions of 5p coins were made, but errors. They slipped through in tiny numbers. Most were caught and melted down. Very few survived. Historical significance. Decimalization was a turning point in British history. Collectors love coins from 1971 because they represent that moment of change. Collector demand. Coin collectors chase uniqueness. A one-of-a-kind error coin is the ultimate prize. Condition. If the coin is uncirculated or professionally graded by NGC or PCGS, its value skyrockets. That's why a tiny 5p coin with an error can command life-changing money at auction. Famous auction sales. Over the years, rare 1971 5p errors have appeared in auctions, and the results have been jaw-dropping. A 1971 5p off-center strike sold for nearly £7,500. A wrong planchette error, a 5p struck on a smaller blank, went for £12,000. Experts believe that if a true mule error 1971 5p ever surfaced, it could reach £1 million or more. That's right, a coin you could mistake for pocket change could end up being the highlight of an elite collector's portfolio. How to spot a valuable 1971 5p. Weight and size. A normal 5p weighs 5.65 grams. If yours is lighter, heavier, or a different size, it could be a wrong planchette. Off-center designs. Check if the Queen's portrait or the thistle is shifted off to one side. Doubling. Look closely at the letters or numbers. If they appear shadowed or doubled, it could be a double strike. Missing metal. Clipped edges are a big clue. Certification. If you suspect your coin is rare, get it graded by PCGS or NGC. We'll dive deep into the fascinating world of the 1971-era UK Elizabeth II to new pence coin. You'll discover the history behind this coin, the rare mistakes that make it astronomically valuable, how to identify if you have one, and the record-breaking prices these treasures have fetched at auction. Because I'll reveal the single most jaw-dropping 1971 2p error ever discovered, a coin so rare it could easily command a seven-figure fortune. The birth of the decimal to new pence. To understand why the 1971 to new pence coin is so important, we need to travel back in time to one of the biggest moments in modern British coinage, decimalization. This transition was massive. Billions of new coins had to be produced by the Royal Mint in preparation for the changeover. Among them was the brand new to new pence coin. The 2p quickly became a common coin, but the rush to produce billions of coins for circulation meant errors slipped through. And those rare survivors are now some of the most valuable coins in British history. The 1971 error coins, wrong planchette errors. Some 2p coins were mistakenly struck on blanks meant for 1p or foreign coins. These wrong planchette errors are extremely rare and can sell for £5,000 to £20,000. Off-center strikes. The coin design is struck off-center, leaving a blank crescent of metal exposed. Depending on severity, these can fetch £1,000 to £10,000. Double strikes, a coin struck twice by the dies, leaving overlapping portraits or designs. Dramatic examples can reach £1,000 to £15,000. Mule errors. Imagine a to be coin with the wrong reverse. That's a mule error. Mules are the holy grail of coin errors and can command hundreds of thousands, even millions. Clipped plankets, rare and collectible. These can sell for £500 to £5,000. Die breaks and cuts, when the dies crack or break, creating raised lumps or extra blobs of metal on the coin. Unusual examples can fetch hundreds to thousands. Famous auction sales. Let's talk about some jaw-dropping sales that stunned collectors. A rare off-center, 1971 to be error sold for nearly £10,000 at auction. A wrong planchette, 1971 to be struck on a 1p blank, reached £15,000. Experts estimate that a genuine mule error, 19,712 pence, could sell for £500,000 to £1 million or more, given its rarity and historical importance. Think about that. A coin worth just a p at face value could pay for a luxury home. How to spot a valuable 1971 error to p. So how do you check if you have one of these rare coins? Check the weight. A standard to p weighs 7.12 grams. Wrong plankets will weigh less or more. Look for off-center designs. If part of the coin is blank, it could be valuable. Inspect for doubling. Letters, numbers, or designs that look shadowed may indicate a double strike. Edge inspection. Errors sometimes show unusual edges, clipped or misaligned. The 1982 Air UK Elizabeth 20 pence coin. This coin might look like an ordinary 20 pence piece at first glance, but it hides a secret that could make even seasoned collectors' jaws drop. It's one of those rare pieces that turns everyday change into a life-changing treasure. So don't blink, because by the end of this video, you might just find out that the next coin sitting in your collection could be worth a small fortune. Now, let's go back in time to 1982. Britain was under the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, and the Royal Mint was busy modernizing coinage. The decimal system, which had been introduced just over a decade earlier, was still being refined. The 20 pence coin had officially entered circulation in 1982, designed to bridge the gap between the 10p and 50p coins. It was meant to make everyday transactions smoother, but little did anyone know that a small minting issue that year would create one of the most sought-after British coins of all time. But here's where things get interesting. While millions of regular 1980 to 20p coins were struck perfectly, a small number came out with minting errors so significant that their rarity skyrocketed. And today, these coins are known among collectors as 1982 error 20 pence coins, pieces that can fetch hundreds, thousands, or even tens of thousands of pounds depending on their condition and type of error. Some examples have even been listed for six-figure sums by collectors who believe they hold one of the rarest decimal errors in UK coinage history. The 1980 to 20p coin was minted in copper nickel and was supposed to follow a very strict design and quality standard. But as with any large-scale minting process, mistakes can happen. Some of the most valuable 1982 error coins are those that were struck off-center, double-struck, or have missing details. Others show dramatic die cracks, planchette flaws, or misaligned obverse and reverse images. These are not your typical circulation wear issues. These are genuine Royal Mint blunders, the kind that make collectors' hearts race. One of the most talked about varieties is the 1980 to 20 pence with misaligned die error, where the Queen's portrait doesn't line up correctly with the reverse. Another known variant is the double strike error, where the coin appears to have been struck twice, causing a ghosted or overlapping design. Some coins even show a partial blank area, indicating that part of the metal planchette didn't strike fully, creating a smooth, mysterious patch on the coin surface. And here's where the value goes through the roof. An ordinary 1980 to 20p coin is worth just face value 20 pence, but an error version? Depending on the severity and uniqueness of the flaw, it can sell for £500, £1,000, or even £5,000 or more. And if it's a one-of-a-kind minting mistake, something that's never been documented or seen before, collectors could pay tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of pounds for it. There are reports of high-grade examples being listed online for up to £250,000 or more, as collectors chase that perfect piece of minting history. Let's talk about the planchette errors, too. Some 1982 coins were struck on the wrong metal plankets blanks intended for other denominations. Imagine a 20p coin struck on a 10p or even a 5p blank. The size, weight, and edge would all be wrong, and collectors go absolutely crazy for such pieces. These off-metal strikes can sell for £10,000, £20,000, or even £50,000, depending on rarity. They're extremely scarce, and every time one surfaces, it makes headlines in the numismatic world. Another major draw is the proof-like 198,000 to 120 pence error coins that somehow entered circulation. These coins were not meant for public release. They were test strikes or early prototypes, showing a mirror-like finish and razor-sharp details. If you ever find a 1980 to 20p with unusually shiny surfaces or a deeper, polished luster, don't ignore, it could be worth a fortune. Now, one of the rarest rumors among collectors involves a 1980 to mule era coin supposedly struck with the wrong die combination, possibly pairing the 20p reverse with the obverse of another denomination. While no officially confirmed mule has been documented from 1982, collectors have reported coins that appear mismatched, suggesting something extraordinary may exist. If an authenticated 1980 to mule 20p coin ever appears, its value could easily reach £1 million or more, simply because it would be unique, a true one-of-one in British coinage history. A tiny, ordinary-looking 1983 UK Elizabeth £1 coin, the kind millions once spent on a loaf of bread, could now be one of the rarest and most valuable modern British coins in existence. So before you rush to spend that old coin sitting in a jar somewhere, stay with me, because what you're about to discover might just change the way you look at every coin you own. Now, let's dive into the mysterious story of the 1983 era UK Elizabeth II £1 coin. A piece that has caused shockwaves among collectors and treasure hunters across the world. The year was 1983, a significant one in the history of British currency. This was the first full year after the pound note had started to fade out of circulation, and the new £100 coin made of nickel brass with a golden tone was taking its place, designed to be sturdy and long-lasting. It featured Queen Elizabeth II's portrait on the obverse by Arnold Machin and the royal arms of the United Kingdom on the reverse, designed by Eric Sewell. It was meant to symbolize the strength and unity of Britain. Some 1983 £1 coins were accidentally struck with the wrong inscription on the edge, instead of bearing the correct edge inscription for the 1983 design. Decus et tamen in Latin for an ornament and a safeguard. These rare coins carried an inscription meant for the following year's design, the 1980 for Welsh leek £1 coin, which read Pleadial with ngwlad, meaning true am I to my country. This blunder meant that a handful of 1983 dated coins had a mismatched edge legend, essentially a 1983 coin with a 1984 inscription. These became known as the 1983 £1 era coins, or more precisely, the 1983 mule era coins, in coin collecting. A mule refers to a coin struck with mismatched dies or elements that were never intended to be paired together. At first, no one realized this error had even happened. Millions of coins were minted, and only a few of these era coins slipped into circulation. It wasn't until years later that collectors began to notice something strange about certain 1983 £1 coins. Their edge inscription didn't match the design or the year. What seemed like a minor difference turned out to be a discovery that would make history today. The 1983 mule era is considered one of the most valuable £1 coins ever struck. Its rarity is astonishing. Experts estimate that fewer than 20,000 pounds of these coins exist, though some suggest it might be far fewer. The Royal Mint has never confirmed the exact number, adding even more mystery and excitement to this rare coins. Now, let's talk about what makes this coin so valuable and how you can identify if you've got one hiding in your collection. The regular 1983 £1 coin should have Decus et tamen engraved on its edge, which translates to an ornament and a safeguard. But the error coin, the one that can make collectors' hearts skip a beat, carries the Welsh motto Pleadial with ngwlad instead. This single detail is the key that separates an ordinary £1 coin worth just face value from one that could be worth hundreds, thousands, or even tens of thousands of pounds, depending on its condition and rarity. In recent years, examples of the 1983 error pound coin have appeared at auctions and shocked even experienced numismatists. In circulated condition, these coins can easily fetch £500 to £1,500, and in exceptional mint state condition, prices have soared well beyond £5,000 to £10,000. Some private sales have reportedly reached £15,000 or more, especially for perfectly preserved examples verified by professional grading services. And here's where things get even more exciting. There have been whispers in the collecting community, rumors that a few pristine, uncirculated specimens could be worth up to £50,000 or even £100,000, depending on demand and market hype. It's no exaggeration to say that this tiny golden coin, once worth just £1, has become a modern-day treasure. So how exactly did this happen? Let's dig deeper into the minting process and how such an error could have slipped through the strict quality controls of the Royal Mint. Each year, the Royal Mint produces millions of coins for circulation, using specific dies and edge inscriptions that correspond to that year's design. For 1983, the coin was supposed to feature the royal arms with the Latin motto. The following year, 1984, was set to feature the Welsh leek design with the Welsh inscription. somewhere along the production line. However, a batch of blanks or dies intended for 1984 were accidentally paired with the 1983 design. Because the edge lettering is applied before the coin is struck, this mismatch wasn't visible during minting. It only became noticeable later when someone inspected the edge closely. It's a classic example of how a tiny oversight can create something extraordinary. Collectors now call it the 1983 £1 mule error, and it's one of those legendary coins every UK collector dreams of finding. Let's imagine for a moment, what if, tucked away in your old coin jar, you had one of these incredibly rare pieces? Just picture it, a coin you thought was worth £1 suddenly turning out to be worth thousands, or maybe tens of thousands. That's the thrill that keeps collectors searching through every old bag of change, every forgotten drawer, every coin inherited from a grandparent. And the beauty of this particular coin is that it's from a year so recent that many people still have them around without realizing their hidden potential. Most of these coins were minted at the Royal Mint in Llantrisant, South Wales. But the error likely occurred during the transition between production runs. Now, one of the most common questions collectors ask is, how can I tell if my coin is the rare error version? It's truly astonishing how such a small detail can mean the difference between pocket change and a collector's dream. As for its appearance,